It Must Have Been the Mistletoe. Written by Judy Astley. Read by Julia Franklin. Chapter 1. "It's Christmas!" bellowed Noddy Holder from the radio on Thea's kitchen window ledge as she opened the back door to let her brother Jimmy in. "Not yet, it isn't, Noddy. Way too soon, matey." Thea lunged for the off switch and cut Slade's exuberance into silence. "Oh, don't switch it off, T. Who doesn't love that song?" Jimmy reached out to turn it back on, but Tia got hold of his long, skinny wrist and stopped him. "Oh, I know, it's one of the best, the great annual classic and all that, but for later, yes? Since when did Christmas take up half the year? It's months away." She didn't want to think about Christmas. Not this year at all, for preference. And even if she really had to, definitely not this soon. Jimmy shrugged. "It's not that long. It's already November. I hope you're not turning into one of those ranting Christmas deniers, T. That's a real sign of age." "Cheeky sod. And anyway, what would that make you? You're years older than me." "Okay, you can keep the radio on, but quietly. There's coffee in the thingy, so help yourself, and I'll run upstairs and quickly dry my hair. I'll only be a few secs. It's very sweet of you to come and pick me up. Saves me having to scrape the ice off my car windows, and I hate having to do that. Are Rosie and Elmo with you?" "Not Rosie. She's got a headache." Jimmy made little quotation marks in the air with his fingers. "You know how she is about Mum and Dad. Thinks they're mad, irresponsible old hippies who should have taken up golf and good works by now." "Ha! She better not hold her breath waiting for that one." Thea had a quick vision of their father with his customary Willie Nelson bandana, but wearing a pink and yellow diamond pattern golfing jumper, looking puzzled about where the ball he'd just hit had gone, and wondering why he should even be bothered to go and look for it. The game wouldn't suit him. Nothing that involved rules and a dress code ever did. "Exactly. I did tell her how they'd been very keen we should all be there, but she just closed her eyes and looked even more pained, so I left her to it. But I've got Elmo. He's outside, eye-padding. I asked him if he was coming in, and he looked at me as if I'd just suggested he step out of the car and do a quick run to Brighton and back." "It's his age. Teenagers need all their energy for growing." "Do they? Heavens, if that's true, he'll be 7 feet tall by next summer. Anyway, go and finish your hair off here, or Mum'll blame us for the sinking Yorkshire puds, and Dad'll say it's our fault that he's somehow halfway down a wine bottle before anyone's even sat down." Thea raced up to her room and unwrapped her damp hair from its towel turban, shook it out, and pulled a comb through it. Drying it would take a matter of minutes. In a furious sod you moment, she'd had it cut quite short and spiky after Rich had left her, when she'd realised he'd gone for good. She'd half hoped he'd come back to collect some forgotten item, so she could get the satisfaction of watching him recoil from her new hair. He'd very much favoured a long blonde look on a woman, having old-fashioned views about the notion of femininity. Well, tough, she thought now, as she blasted hot air at the fronds and pulled them into pleasing tufts. Before Christmas, she must get some fun colour on it. Coppery highlights among the blonde would give the tuftiness some definition. Or maybe some bright pink and a bit of scarlet. How Rich would have hated that. She could still just hear the sound of the radio. Jimmy was clattering about in the kitchen, probably having a second mug of coffee, and going through her recycling in a search of a newspaper with a number puzzle in it that he hadn't already done. It felt very cheering to have someone else on the premises, as if Jimmy somehow warmed the whole of this little house by a few degrees, even though he had only called in to give her a lift to their parents' home in southwest London for a big, whole family Sunday lunch. Sudden solitary living when you've been sharing a home for the past 3 years, with a man who had promised to be your happy ever after, plus his great big dog, was turning out to be a lonely old way to exist. Thea felt it especially at weekends, however much she went out to be defiantly social, and however much bravado she tried to assume. It seemed strange now to think that on the odd occasions she used to have the place to herself,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?